Welcome, welcome. We are so glad to have you here again for episode 3 of Spooky Stories from Little Lucy. This is an extra special episode as we will be featuring stories from listeners like you. Some of these stories are stories they have written themselves, and others are familiar favorites. We hope you enjoy episode 3. MJ with a quick reminder. Don't forget to listen ahead or read our plot synopsis to decide if this story's too spooky for your child, or maybe even you. Hope you enjoy.
Yay, you're back! I'm so glad you came to play on the playground again. Hey, I've been meaning to apologize. I've been telling all these scary stories and haven't asked if you want to tell one.
That's okay, Lucy. I have some spooky stories. That's okay, Lucy. I would love to tell a story.
Well, hello there. How are y'all doing today?
Oh, hey, MJ. Have you guys met MJ? She works here at the RV resort.
Hi, MJ. Nice to meet you.
Hi, MJ.
Well, it's nice to meet you all. So glad that you've decided to stay here with us. I'm just going to take this trash, put it in my truck, and be done for the day. Thank you all for keeping it clean.
You're welcome. We love it here. We were just about to tell spooky stories. Do you know any?
Ooh, I like it. Getting into the Halloween season. Actually, I do have a really fun, scary story. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, sure. Let's hear it.
This story is called The Teeny Tiny Woman. This is one of the classic stories, one that maybe your parents have heard, but it's got a little bit of a spin on it. So just stick with me, okay? There once was a teeny tiny woman. She lived all alone in a teeny tiny house. Her teeny tiny house sat on the teeny tiny edge of a big swamp. The teeny tiny woman loved her teeny tiny house. One day, the teeny tiny woman decided to go for a teeny tiny walk. She put on her teeny tiny scarf and her teeny tiny shawl. She went only a teeny tiny way before she stopped at a teeny tiny gate. The teeny tiny woman walked into a teeny tiny churchyard. Inside the teeny tiny churchyard, she found a teeny tiny graveyard. The teeny tiny graveyard had only one teeny tiny grave. The teeny tiny woman looked at the teeny tiny grave. On top of it was a teeny tiny bone.
This teeny tiny bone will make me some teeny tiny soup. I'll have that for my teeny tiny supper,
said the teeny tiny woman. She put the teeny tiny bone into her teeny tiny pocket. She left the teeny tiny graveyard. She opened the teeny tiny gate to the teeny tiny churchyard. She walked a teeny tiny way to her teeny tiny house on the teeny tiny edge of the big swamp. Now the teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit tired. She did not feel like making any teeny tiny soup with the teeny tiny bone. The teeny tiny woman put the teeny tiny bone into a teeny tiny jar. She put the teeny tiny jar into her teeny tiny cupboard.
I think I will go take a teeny tiny nap,
said the teeny tiny woman. She went to her teeny tiny bedroom. Then the teeny tiny woman crawled into her teeny tiny bed. Soon, the teeny tiny woman was fast asleep. The teeny tiny woman slept for just a teeny tiny time. A teeny tiny voice woke her up. The teeny tiny voice called from the teeny tiny cupboard. The teeny tiny voice said,
"Give me my bone."
The teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit scared. But she pulled the teeny tiny covers up around her teeny tiny eyeballs. The teeny tiny voice in the teeny tiny cupboard stopped. The teeny tiny woman went back to sleep, but only for a teeny tiny time. The teeny tiny voice cried out from the teeny tiny cupboard again. It woke the teeny tiny woman. This time, the voice was a teeny tiny bit louder.
"Give me my bone."
Now the teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit more scared. She pulled the teeny tiny covers over her teeny tiny head and tried to hide. Soon, the teeny tiny woman went back to sleep. But only for a teeny tiny time. The teeny tiny voice called out again from the teeny tiny cupboard. It woke up the teeny tiny woman. This time, the teeny tiny voice was just a teeny tiny bit louder. The teeny tiny voice said,
"Give me my phone."
The teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit more scared than before, but she did not hide under her teeny tiny covers. The teeny tiny woman poked her head out from underneath the teeny tiny covers. In her loudest, teeny tiny voice, she said,
"Take it! Take it!"
Then the teeny tiny woman went back to sleep. The teeny tiny voice did not call out from the teeny tiny cupboard anymore. The teeny tiny woman slept soundly all night in her teeny tiny bed. The next morning, the teeny tiny woman looked in her teeny tiny cupboard. The teeny tiny jar and the teeny tiny bone were gone. Now the teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit hungry again. After all, she never made her teeny tiny soup for her teeny tiny supper. The teeny tiny woman went for another teeny tiny walk. The teeny tiny woman went only a teeny tiny way. She stopped at the teeny tiny churchyard. Inside the teeny tiny churchyard, she found the teeny tiny graveyard again. The teeny tiny woman saw her teeny tiny jar sat on top of the teeny tiny marker of the teeny tiny grave. The teeny tiny woman picked up her teeny tiny jar. The teeny tiny jar was empty. The teeny tiny woman was just about to go back to her teeny tiny house. She noticed something else.
"What is this?"
said the teeny tiny woman.
"A teeny tiny tooth?"
She put the teeny tiny tooth in her teeny tiny jar. She took the teeny tiny jar back to her teeny tiny house. She put the teeny tiny jar into her teeny tiny cupboard. Now the teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit tired again. She decided to take a teeny tiny nap. The teeny tiny woman was almost asleep when she heard a teeny tiny voice.
"Give me my tooth,"
said the teeny tiny voice. This time, the teeny tiny woman knew just what to do. In her loudest teeny tiny voice, she said, "Take it!" Wasn't that a good one? I love that one. It's a classic.
Yeah, that was a good story. Do you want to hear one of mine?
Sure, let's hear it.
My name is Nando, and this story is true. So, we went on a trip with my big brother and little sister and my parents. My brother Bob was 17. My mom's name is Kathy, and my dad's name is Alex. My sister's name is Triss. We all went on a trip to New Mexico. While driving, something spooky happened. All of the traffic lights turned red, and the town's Halloween decorations were to blame. Dad! Dad! Dad!
What happened, Nando? Why are you yelling? Nando, answer Dad's question.
Because all the traffic lights turned red.
Was it spooky?
"Nando, Daddy asked if it was spooky. Didn't you hear him?"
Yes? I think the Halloween decorations did this. And one of the decorations did this. It was a skeleton! A skeleton turned all the traffic lights red.
Alex? I think Nando is telling the truth.
Oh no, we are stuck on the road.
"Mommy, I think we're stuck on the road."
Yeah, it looks like we are. There aren't any cars moving.
Ah, spider! and there was a spider on the window. It was huge and scary and spooky. Why is there a spider on the window, Mom?
I don't know, Nando. Just run.
We jumped out of the car. Dad grabbed our bats. We always keep them in the trunk because we love to play baseball. As we got out, a skeleton decoration grabbed my ankle and I kicked it in the face. Then a skeleton decoration wearing a hat lunged at my dad. He used his bat and knocked his hat right off.
Alex, we have to call for help. You brought your cell phone, right?
Dad started dialing.
Thank you for calling the police department. What is your emergency today?
We're being attacked by Halloween decorations. All of the traffic lights are red and all of the cars won't move.
Sir, calm down. Calm down. Where are you located?
On the corner of Burnett Road.
We will be there shortly. Please just stay calm.
And the police went there fast as they can. We ran on the sidewalk all the way home. Our house was at Lampasas, and we got there as fast as we can. We can actually go 72 miles an hour, and Dad shut the door, and we were safe.
Finally, home sweet home. Let's just cancel the trip to New Mexico.
Yeah, Dad, can we cancel this?
Sure.
All right. I guess that means the trip is canceled.
Oh, yay! Because that was scary.
And spooky.
We don't know why the Halloween decorations attacked us that night, but we were safe, at least for the night. That was a true story. We didn't go on vacation in 2004.
Thanks again for listening to episode 3 of our Spooky Story podcast. Now, for stories from some of our listeners. Jason here, and he's going to tell us a story about a spooky
Dinosaur.
This story is about a dinosaur named
T-Rex.
This spooky little dinosaur would
Roar.
at all of his friends.
It was a bad day.
The spooky little dinosaur was sad, so he went to apologize to his friends and gave them all
Candy.
This story is being told by our friend Madison.
This is a story of a ghost. The ghost scared the people out. Then they came back.
And for our last story of the night, we have Avery with her spooky story about a cat.
Once upon a time, there was a pet cat, and then it went wild, but it's alright. The end.
Thank you all again for listening to Spooky Stories from Little Lucy. This podcast was brought to you by Flavor by Chef T and the Little Lucy RV Resort. We like to thank all of you listeners and encourage you to send your own stories in or share with your friends. See you next week. This podcast was created by BC Creative Hub. Music by Nick Alvarado. Stories by listeners like you.